We're here to do one thing and one thing only, to provide closure. After all the exploration, we've arrived at the final definition of product marketing. This is it. The work we've been doing together, it was never about just optimizing. This wasn't a search for a new tactic or some quick fix to do product marketing a little bit better. That was never the point. No, the entire effort was about something much more fundamental. It was about defining what product marketing actually is. It was about drawing a line in the sand, once and for all, and building a stable foundation we can all stand on. And maybe even more importantly, defining what it isn't. Because really, a function is only as strong as its boundaries, right? Sometimes saying what something is not is way more powerful than trying to define what it is. And that's exactly the work we're going to finalize right now. So, to get this done, we're going to move through 4 key areas. We'll cover its true function, its essential boundaries, the point of convergence it creates, and finally, the conditions for its success. Let's get into it. Okay, first up, the true function. This is all about precision. We have to put product marketing exactly where it belongs in the flow of work. See, its power doesn't come from being involved in everything, but from being in precisely the right place at precisely the right time. This right here, this is the foundational principle. Product marketing is a downstream function. It's not its job to go out and discover the strategy or find product market fit. No, its role begins after those truths are known and settled. It receives them. So what is its core action? It's translational. Think of it this way. It takes the complex, internal truth of the company's strategy and it translates it into clear, consistent language for the market. And the most important part of that job is fidelity. It's about translating without distorting, without adding your own spin, without subtracting anything important. Pure translation. And when you do this right, what happens? Well, it acts as a powerful stabilizing force in the organization. First, it reduces variance, meaning people stop describing the product in a million different ways. It enforces consistency across every single channel. And this last one is so important. It prevents the relitigation of decisions that have already been made. The debate is over. That stabilizing role brings us to what is probably the most critical part of this entire framework, the boundaries. Because let's be honest, a function without clear guardrails just becomes a dumping ground for organizational chaos. So let's be absolutely clear. Product marketing is not discovery. That belongs to product management and research. It is not about raw from scratch creativity. It translates. It doesn't invent. It's not a way to compensate for a weak product. It is not an internal sales team to persuade other departments. And it is absolutely, under no circumstances, damage control for bad decisions. And here's where these boundaries become a powerful diagnostic tool. When you see a product marketer being asked to just invent a story or sprinkle some marketing magic on it, that's just a symptom. The real root cause, the go-to-market strategy isn't actually done. The foundational truth simply isn't there. And you see the same pattern here. When product marketing is brought in to try and fix a bad launch or rescue poor sales numbers, again, that's just addressing the symptom. The underlying problem is that key decisions about the product or the strategy were never really settled. And you just can't ask product marketing to fix a broken foundation. It's impossible. So if it's not about fixing things or inventing things, what is the ultimate goal? This is the point of convergence. A properly bounded product marketing function isn't just about creating data sheets and slide decks. It's about creating something much bigger: organizational stability. Think of this as the final lock. Product marketing's real job is to stabilize, to freeze these 5 things. The exact language we use, the single core narrative we tell, the firm boundaries of our positioning, what we are and, just as importantly, what we are not, how we explain ourselves to each other internally, and of course the expectations we set with the outside world. When this is working, these things stop changing all the time. Now, don't mistake this stability for stagnation. It's the exact opposite. This is convergence. This is that moment when the entire organization is finally moving in the same direction, speaking with one voice, all operating from the same source of truth. That is a state of incredible power. But, and this is a really important but, you can't just force this to happen. Product marketing isn't some magic wand you can wave over any organization. For it to actually work, for it to thrive, certain conditions absolutely have to be met first. And these are the non-negotiables. First, the GTM truth has to be stable. It has to be handed over as a finished thing. Second, Leaders have to actually own their decisions, not push accountability downstream. Third, the boundaries we just talked about have to be respected by everyone. And finally, and this might be the most important one, product marketing has to be allowed to say no when people ask them to step outside those boundaries. It really all comes down to this. This is the single most essential condition. You have to think of product marketing as a system built to amplify a stable signal. It just can't function in an environment where everything is constantly changing. It can only do its job where the core strategic truth has finally stopped moving. And so, with that final condition in place, this exploration is finished. The work of defining is over. This chapter is now complete. The complete framework with all its definitions, its boundaries, and its constraints is now available. The question of what product marketing is, well, that question has been settled. So, what comes next isn't about more definition. It's not about more exploration. It depends entirely on what you do with this.